rolling. Okay. Well, I'll see if I remember to cover that. All right, so we're good to go? Cool. All right. Well, welcome again to another episode of the Steele Entrepreneur Show. My name is Adam Steele, and this is episode 10, which is pretty cool. That's a bit of a milestone. Now, mind you, I do plan, and sorry, Brandon, but we're going all the way to 200. We're going all the way to 300, I think. So we'll just keep doing these until people say they suck so much that they don't want to watch them anymore. So I'm afraid you're along for the ride. I don't have anything planned for today, and quite honestly, I kind of feel a little bit guilty about it. I didn't bring, usually I spend a little bit of time putting together notes, or throughout the week I collect notes of my own. So when anything kind of pops up in my head, I'll write down on a piece of paper, I'll scribble down the topic, and then I'll sort of check it out on Thursday again, so the day before we tape, and kind of just pick which one I can actually speak to without having I don't want to have to rehearse. Like that's a big thing to me, because as soon as I start rehearsing, that means it's kind of like I often think of it this way. If I can't stand up in front of an audience without slides and speak to material and speak to it, effectively, and understand the material so much that I don't have to refer to slides, then I shouldn't be talking about it. And the same applies with this show. Is I don't want to talk about anything on this show that I don't know so well that I don't need to prepare. And that doesn't mean I don't care. Though, as I was saying a moment ago, I do feel a little bit underprepared. I do feel kind of guilty showing up to a show, wasting your time, wasting Brandon's time without having prepared. So we will call this an experiment. We'll see where we go with this. We'll try and keep it short. I know I'm not very good at that, and we'll just kind of go from there. There's a couple things that I've been thinking about. Chris, our head copywriter, he's been helping me. I'm not good at coming up with like ideas, and then like for writing blog posts and stuff, like blog posts are just a total pain in the ass for me, which is kind of why I started this show. This is one way I can get content out and not totally fail, and not totally put myself through hell to do it. And it's very silly to call blogging hell, but for me, anything that I don't enjoy doing is kind of hell, because there's so many things I do enjoy, and those are the things that I'm going to do really, really well. So I don't want to do something that I'm going to suck at, and then I'm not going to get all that better at. And blogging is one of those things that I've tried and been consistent at before, and it just doesn't. I can't get I can't get what's in my head onto paper, for whatever reason. So anyways, we have this little system where he'll come up with, he'll go through these videos. He'll go through, like interviews that I do on podcasts or what have you. By the way, we have our podcast on Google Play now. So if that's something of interest, if that's easier to digest than this, then check that out. It took us a long time to get approved by Google, which is really weird. But we've got this little system where he'll go through all this stuff and he'll come up with titles. So stuff that resonated with him, stuff that seems to be resonating with other people, and he'll break that stuff out and he'll say, Adam, I think there's something here. I think you can go deeper on this. And so he'll put together a few notes where basically he'll say, I think we can go a little bit deeper here. I think we can elaborate on A, B, and C. Can you do that for me? And instead of typing something out for him, I will do a voice recording, and I will talk about that. I will talk about whatever that topic is, and then I'll send that to him, and then he kind of ghost writes essentially for me, and then I'll go through that. I'll add a bunch more points, and at that point, I'll usually type some stuff out, and then we'll go back and forth, and then it's sort of getting closer to being ready as a blog post. But where I'm going with that is, we did this one about passion the other day. and I don't remember whether it was in a video I was talking about it or where he grabbed it from, but I went off on this tangent. Like all of a sudden I looked and we had 40 minutes of voice. and now I'm kind of setting the bar high, and I certainly don't want to do 40 minutes. But I didn't realize how big of a deal that topic was to me, and how it is kind of my message. Like I have like a few important messages that I want to get across to you, and also kind of reinforce within myself. And passion is one of them. And what I like to talk about is passion is a bit overrated, or at least it's a little bit, it's not as important, I think, as everybody thinks it is. It's not, passion is often used as kind of an excuse. I'm not passionate about it, so I'm not going to do it. And I'm contradicting myself because I was just talking about the blogging, but I did do blogging. I did it for a while. Because it was a necessity. I needed to do it at one particular juncture. And now I'm just finding a different way to do it. But I don't think you necessarily need to be passionate about something. If you know that you want to build a business, then it doesn't matter what you build. It's just that you build something. And I think, and I fear and I worry, and I know because I have these discussions with folks who are already entrepreneurs or folks that are sort of moving into that entrepreneurial life, and they're so focused on, I want to create the Uber of this, but I don't know how to do that yet, and I don't have that unique angle, and so they're paralyzed by that. That's where they stop. And they don't do anything, right? They think, well, that idea will come eventually. Eventually, I'll figure out exactly what avenue I want to take, and at that point, I'll take it. But they're foregoing the opportunity to fine-tune their skills, basic skills, that will be helpful when they get to that point. And when they get to that point, I don't give a shit how good their idea is. Ideas are plentiful. I have lots of them. But it's one's ability. And you'll hear this a million times. Execution is everything. And it is. And if you aren't able to execute on that idea, you're going to fail. So if you spend all this time dicking around doing nothing, waiting for this magical idea to hit you, and let me be honest with you, it's been 7 years. I don't have a magical idea. And I have exposed myself to so much in business and done so many different things, both in the online space and offline space. I don't have that magical idea yet. But I have spent 7 years digging deep into the business world and figuring out where I suck, where I'm good, getting better at where I suck. And, that 7 years of experience is going to make me so much more prepared for when that idea finally hits me. And I'm in it for the long run. If you know that building business, and if you know that building businesses, being an entrepreneur is your thing, if that's what you want to do, then you've got to start. You've got to start doing it, because it takes a long time to be good at that. I'm not good at that yet. I am mediocre at best. So you got to start now. You can't wait for that idea, because you'll be waiting forever. And I've just got to imagine if you aren't the type of person to be exposing yourself to all kinds of different things, both in business and out, that idea may never come around. And then all of a sudden, you've got 20 years in a corporate job, and I'm assuming corporate jobs are not something you want to do. You want to build a business. That is that's what you want to do, that's what you know you want to do, then you just forewent 20 years of the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to be ready for that opportunity, the opportunity to be ready to execute on that idea. And that is my 7 years in summary. That's everything I've done, is preparing for that opportunity, for that idea to come around, that innovative idea, that thing that I give. Like, I like marketing at best. I don't give a shit about it. Marketing is a tool. It's a means. I care about building businesses, and I care about being ready for that real innovation, that thing that is going to change the world. Like that I want to. It's a silly comparison, I think. Maybe it isn't, maybe it is. We'll see. But I do quite honestly compare myself to people like Elon Musk. Like, I can't help it. I can't help but contrast. Where was he at this age? What was he doing? What was he building? What did he accomplish? And what is he doing now? Where is my Tesla idea, right? I'm building a fucking marketing company. Like, that has been done over and over and over and over again. There's nothing new. There's nothing innovative about that. Sure, I can do things a little bit differently. Great. But that doesn't excite me. The building excites me, and my BHAG excites me. My big, hairy, audacious goal, that excites me. That Tesla dream, that SpaceX dream, that whatever dream. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm still figuring it out. But whatever it is, this is the process to get there. This is the journey. This is what I have to do. These are the taxes I need to pay to be ready for whatever that is. So I beg of you to consider that, to think about how much you really want to be an entrepreneur. Because if you want to be an entrepreneur, then your soul right now is being crushed working for somebody else. And I'm not saying there isn't any value in doing that. Quite frankly, I wish I had. If I had spent maybe a year working for another marketing agency, I'd be way further along. It's the truth. I at that time, I wouldn't ask any questions because I was too prideful, too full of pride. So I would, just try and figure everything out myself. And that cost me a lot of time, a lot of struggle, a lot of unnecessary struggle. It didn't need to be that hard. But that's who I was at that particular time in my life. So I'm not against it. I'm just saying, if you feel that, you need to plan. You need to plan an escape. You need to get out. You need to take that leap. Even if it's like, I'm not suggesting that you quit your job. For me, that worked because I was not and still am not committed enough. And that's coming from a guy who has no issue waking up at 6:30 every morning and going to bed at 2 a.m. every single day, 5 days a week, and then working on the weekend as well. Like, coming in here right now, I'm exhausted. But that's the price I pay for doing something, working towards something that I love. And so you have that same opportunity. You can work. That's fine. But get out there. After work, go home, make dinner, and get to work. Get after it. Do something. Doesn't have to be amazing. It could be some. I've told this. I don't know if I've shared this on this show, but when I got out and I quit, I was just done. And that probably wasn't the smartest idea. But for someone like me, that was the way to go. Everything failed for 6 months. Like nothing, I basically didn't make $1 for 6 months, more or less. Maybe little here, little there, whatever. But like the first thing that worked was selling Gmail addresses. Like how unsexy is that? But I got to know people on this internet marketing forum. I started a little something. I figured out just the basic dynamics of buying and selling things. That's not something I really had a lot of experience with before. And then it led to something else. And then it led to something else. And then it led to something else. So it doesn't have to be this amazing thing. It doesn't have to be this thing this startup that you have to brag, that you want to brag to your friends about. No one gives a shit. People give a shit that you're doing something. And even if they're hating because they can't do something. They can't bring themselves to do something. They're fearful of what people think of them. So just do something. It doesn't matter what it is. Because like I said, you are getting yourself ready for whatever the something is. For whatever you care enough about to, potentially devote the next decade to devote your life to. That's what I'm looking for. For now, it's building businesses because that is the foundation. That is what's going to get me ready for that thing that I love so much that I want to spend the rest of my life doing it. So dig deep, think about that, because I can't think of anything more important than doing something that is meaningful to you. I can't think of anything more painful than going to work and hating what you do or disliking what you do or having these feelings that you don't belong there, or you that you just can't, like you're watching the clock. Like that is soul crushing, and that is such a waste. So don't worry about any of that stuff. Don't worry about talent. Don't worry about skill. Don't worry. I mean, that stuff is all secondary. It truly is. What matters is you do something. You pick up and you go and you get shit done, and you be consistent about it, and you stick to it, and you commit to it, and you work your ass off. All the other stuff is just gravy. If you happen to have talent in that particular thing, gravy, awesome. It's going to set you apart from the many other thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people that are doing that thing. But it's not necessary. I knew I could rant on that. I told you that, Brandon, didn't I? I kind of just went off on that one. I don't know. I feel like maybe I should leave it on that. What are we for time-wise?
Just under 20 minutes.
Just under 20 minutes. I think the other thing that I'll finish up on, and then we'll get out of here and enjoy the rest of our day. Is that skills piece that I was just talking about. I think people put way too much stock in skill and talent, especially talent. I think talent makes a huge difference, but I don't think it makes the difference. I truly believe that there is nothing I am doing right now that I am particularly talented at. I think I've been consistent. I think I've worked hard. I think I've put in the time. I have the time on the mat, like in jiu-jitsu. It's the person who puts in the time. That's what makes the belt. That's what makes the difference between the blue belt and the purple belt and the brown belt and the black belt. It's the time on the mat. It's how many years you've devoted and been committed and been consistent and how many times you went per week. That's the difference maker. That's where everybody fails. So many people have so much talent, but they're missing the main stuff, the goodies. And they take that for granted. They think that they can ride that talent, and it's just not true. I know that because I don't have talent in this stuff. I know that I have to compensate for that with these ridiculous, insane hours. I have to at the end of the week, I am so exhausted. And that's because I don't have that natural stuff. But that's fine. And I'm still getting where I need to go without that talent. So don't let that be an excuse. It's just not that important. When you find that thing that I was talking about before, the talent may lie in that. You came up with that because that's something that you are passionate about and something that you more than likely have some talent in. But it's not a prerequisite. It's not something you absolutely need to be successful. It just isn't. It's being willing. If there's one skill I have, it's being committed enough to stick it out, to work really, really hard. That's it. The rest the rest just comes. Just like that belt will come, that blue belt will come. When you've spent enough time on the mat, that blue belt will come, that purple belt will come, that brown belt will come. It may take 10 years, but it will come. And you can't, and this is, God damn it, this is such a thing with people my age, and there are exceptions. God damn, there are exceptions. I take every opportunity to talk to folks that are starting businesses my age, younger than me, older than me. There are exceptions, but there just seems to be this huge number of people that just seem to expect that they can put in, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours a day and get, to put in 5 inputs and get 100 outputs. It doesn't exist. I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't exist. You have to put in the time. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be the business you're building. It could be some goal that you have. It could be buying a home. You don't deserve it unless you're putting in the time, unless you're doing absolutely everything in your power to make that happen. You don't go out and buy those Starbucks. You save that money. You don't go out for drinks. You keep that money. You live in a tiny place. You save up that money. If you want to start a business, you eat a bowl of noodles. You save that money. You put that money towards the business. Don't know where this sort of expectation comes from that you can do so little and get so much. It doesn't exist. And that, I think I will leave it there. I don't know that this is really an episode. It is a rant, but we're going to make it into an episode, and we're going to see if you like it. And if you like it, I want you to let me know, because I want to make material that resonates with people. So it resonates with me. I think about this stuff constantly. I go to bed thinking about this stuff. I wake up thinking about this stuff. So, if it means something to you, I want you to let me know. I don't want you just to subscribe. If you don't subscribe, that's fine. I'd rather have a comment from you. I'd rather have you let me know what it meant to you, where you're at, whether you're dying inside to leave your job. Maybe not a good idea to do that on Facebook. You can send me a direct message or something like that. Don't want your employer seeing that. But if you'd like to support us, support the show, support the podcast, subscribe, it would mean a great deal to myself, to Brandon, to Rihanna, to Sarah, to Chris, to Serge, to everybody who's working on this show on your behalf. And, we're on YouTube, we're on Google Play, we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I'm even dabbling on Snapchat. I know I've said that before and I'm so terrible at it, but I am getting a little bit better. And say hi. Let us know what's up. Let us know if you have any questions. And we're going to keep working hard to create content and create stuff that is easily digested by you. And see you in episode 11. Thank you very much.